Welcome, everyone. It's good to see all this engagement. We really appreciate your time and attention. Let's kick the show off with the technical update. Rao, are you ready?
Yes, I am. So the mainnet is currently still running the 0.12.4 version, but the testnet is running the 0.12.5 version. And the 0.12.5 version primarily is I'm going to share here the changes. It's primarily a bug fix version for the, in the hot store, we had a bug that was causing rare state hash mismatches. So that's fixed, as well as the API has some improvements moving towards the new things. In particular, there is the minimum flow price being a parameter. So that's going to be returned now with API status as well, call, as well as the @name by block hash is a future replacement for listen for data @name, which is the current API call. And then here are the changes on the CLI, primarily to make 40402 the default port, as well as the admin port. Then you can see through here, like it's mostly a whole bunch of cleanup, refactoring, and getting ready for the next release is what is in this with 0.12.5. So that's on the testnet right now, and we'll let it run there for a few days. And especially, I think, for people, because this has both the old API and the new API, for folks that are not the complete new API, but much of the new API. What app developers can do is they can test their old and new using this and be able to get ready for the next version of the API. So let me speak to what's going on in that space first before I go into the LLVM work. So Tomislav and Stas are working on updating the APIs to match the next release, which is the big hard fork 2 release. There were a couple of things in the past. We tried to generate the APIs using the DSL toolkit in Scala, and we had problems with it. So Tomislav has put this this PR 3609 to close some of those issues. And then Stas is going to be working on the new APIs. So I'll just quickly go over to those. These are the dependencies that were updated and other changes that were done to be able to generate the APIs. And the one thing that is different, we will probably have to go back and edit these things. Give me 1 second. I have to cut this phone off. So what we're calling here V2 actually would now be called V1, version 1, in the sense that the current version is version 0. These changes that we're catching now will be version 1. And then when we have the full hard fork 2, that will be the version 2 API. So that's the plan. But that's what is going on, because when we get version hard fork 2 with LLVM, there will be changes to the API that everybody should be aware of, and those will be coming down the pipe. So that's what's going on with the APIs, but people can start upgrading their applications to be compatible with the future by using the 0.12.5 version right now. In terms of the main stream of work, the leaderless block merge, that work is continuing nicely. Much of the full team is working on it. Tomislav and Will have joined efforts with NutZipper, and Stas, of course, has been working on with Tomislav on having a simulator for testing the leaderless block merge, and he is adding cases or scenarios to the simulator as they are discovered that need to be added. And Tomislav and Stas will continue to do that, even as NetZipper is handing over the code to Will and Tomislav, and probably Stas will also work with some portion of that. So that's kind of what is going on right now. NetZipper has vacation coming up in March. And so this week is the transition week where we are making sure that we complete handoffs and that everybody is clear on the tasks that need to be done to complete LLBM. So there's quite a bit of intense work and meetings and everything going on there to make that happen smoothly. I already spoke to the APIs, and then Dennis is looking into, Tomislav has identified 3 main things that are slowing Rolang down: set, list, and map. So Dennis is investigating, basically he's taking more detailed measurements and see what part of the code or where things are slowing down, as well as looking into what alternative algorithms or structures may be used within that for that to improve the performance of Rolang in that. So that's that's an activity that is going on. And now that basically we're getting now that we have much of until now, the hard fork 2 changes and the LLBM changes were being worked in separate branches. Now that is going to become the main branch, so we're going to merge the hard fork 2 and LLBM into the dev branch. So the team is going to be working towards that. That would be the next release coming. That would be 0.13 would be the hard fork 2 and LLBM work that would be coming out. So cleaning up the branches, merging the branches, and resolving any conflicts, all of that work is also going on. That's where we are. And separately, support for external customers continues. We do seem to be getting interest with quite a few new customers, and we're continuing engagement with them, putting together either architecture or proposals, whatever is necessary to move them forward. So that's where we are. I think those are the main updates. I don't think I'm forgetting anything else here. Let me just quickly review. I think that's the technical update. Are there any questions, comments from anyone?
So I just wanted to point out that the bug that I identified, I guess it was a week or so ago, has been rectified. So they've now got code that they're testing in the simulator, and is ready to merge. That rectifies the bug I identified. So I'm pleased with the progress.
Yes.
I'm sorry I arrived a little late, so this may have already been covered. But has the double spend problem been solved?
The double spend problem has been solved, and I'm trying to figure out if that has or has not been merged into the 0.12.5 version. Let's see, is Tomislav here? No. But it has been solved. There's a PR that you can see for that. Let me see if I can go there.
Just to be clear, this issue only exists in 0.12.5, right? And not in the currently running testnet or mainnet.
That's correct.
That is correct, yeah. Yeah.
We should probably clarify that, just in case, before people panic.
True. Very true.
So I'm a little curious, just in terms of trying to get things straight in my head. Will there be a 0.13 for the next release?
0.13 will be the hard fork 2 LLBM release, yes. So that would be the I mean, by changing from 12 to 13, we're basically saying it's a substantially new release. And It could very well be 1.0. Right now, we're calling it 13, but basically when everything that needs to be resolved with LLBM HF2 is resolved, let's say we put out 13 on the testnet and we see some bugs or something. So we may be doing a 13.1, 13.2, something like that. But eventually, when we have all of that completed, I think one decision we have not yet made is whether 1.0 should be when we go to external validators, or should we call the LLBM HF2 1.0, right? I mean, going to external validators in our mind is the complete legitimate use of the 1.0 versioning or notation. But you can see it's either 13 and then 1.0, or 13 may become 1.0, and then when we go to external validators, it can be 1 point something. So
I just as a suggestion, it may be inappropriate for this forum, but just as a suggestion, right now we don't have inter-shard communication, and I would suggest that 1.0 requires that.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we'll take that suggestion into consideration.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure it's appropriate here.
Yeah. I'm not sure either. I think what we discussed earlier was that we would do the block merge version as 13, and we'll do external validators. When we go to external validators, we're basically saying, hey, we have the full mainnet ready and decentralized with external validators. So that's kind of what we were calling 1.0. Whether we need to delay 1.0 designation beyond that, we'll take into consideration. Maybe we'll even get some more feedback from the community on that.
I'm sure Theo will be happy about external validators.
Yes, and many others. I mean, we have several others wanting to run staking pools and wanting to participate in that external validator version of it. So before we go to external validators, we'll have friends and family for a period of time, of course. But now, because of this intense interest, we're thinking about maybe as long as it's on the testnet, when we do multiple validators outside the cooperative, does not necessarily have to be limited to friends and family, right? We could do both commercial external validators or staking pool folks that have approached us, as well as the friends and family, all doing validation on the testnet, and then figure out any bugs that way. And then make a decision about the first time we go to the mainnet external validation, does that still have to be friends and family for a period of time, or because we have done enough running of that on the testnet, we can just simply go to mainnet with external validators at that point in time. So that's those are the next steps that we will tackle after the block merge version is complete. But at this point, it's clear that there's enough interest that we should at least let outside parties participate as external validators on the testnet. This way, we learn from them, they learn from us, they become familiar with the technology, and we're all still doing it in a safe testnet environment. So that's the thinking at this point in time, that it's better to let them in sooner than later on the testnet. And then we can calibrate what we want to do with the mainnet based on that experience.
On a somewhat side note, is there any kind of an official document out now explaining what the feature enhancements are for hard fork 2?
There has been documentation all along, but I will take a look at what we have. Maybe it is worthwhile to, I mean, it's mostly really the question is what API changes, I guess, is the big question there, right? Because everything else is that there are internal changes that you would not see too much except in improved performance. But I'll see what, there was on our chip, there is an R chip for block merge But what we will do is create a full, a degree of full documentation as to at least highlighting the features and benefits of RChain and the hard fork 2 LLVM and the API, most importantly, the API documentation. So the API part is what Stas is working on.
Yeah, that's really what I was asking about. I mean, going out to GitHub is, I mean, technical people can do that all the day, but I was wondering if there was some kind of an official document that could be referenced.
Yeah, we'll create some documentation that's easy for people to grok. Any other questions or comments? All right, over to you, Greg.
Thank you very much. In terms of the special board meeting from yesterday, there was a lot of good dialogue. There was no votes taken. We are giving guidance to RChain Publishing so that the board will be acting very soon to give some guidance to RChain Publishing to make sure that all the timelines line up with respect to the airdrop. So that's dominated the discussion at the RChain board level yesterday. More details about that in the closed door session. Let's see. This morning, I gave a chat to a talk to the Chennai Institute. Hats off to Rao on the RChain side for helping to organize that. I think it was overall a good talk. I think it was well received. And we're hoping to get some good engagement from them. There were several process calculi folks in the audience. So we're hoping for them to find some motivation to engage with us. Rao, any impressions from your side?
No, I think, I mean, this is the first time we engaged with the Indian universities. And I think some of these folks that were there today actually are on the list of eminent speakers for ACM India, Association for Computing Machinery. So I think we should get good leverage out of this activity. And of course, there is continuing engagement with researchers. I saw Steve Ross-Talbot sent out a notice to the Imperial College folks and others that we engaged with about a year ago now. So we're going to have another session with them, with both the UK universities and Indian universities combined after Easter. And then I think there's a workshop and call for papers in research that we're going to plan for with these folks really running the show, the people that we're engaging with. They will be running the show to, they'll be forming the committees, review committees, and get the papers and presentations going at some point. I mean, right now it's not clear if end of July would be too aggressive for that, or maybe that's okay for the first round, even if it's only a few papers that come in. And then maybe we do something more substantive later in the year or early next year. So there's a lot of ongoing engagement that needs to be planned with them. The idea is to have every 2 to 3 months, at least a meeting so that everybody gets to talk to everybody. The other thing we're probably going to do is on GitHub discussions, we are going to open that up to the researchers so that they can directly communicate with each other. And this way, most of these people are either theoretical computer science or applied math or just computer science overall. So the idea is to engage them with the project in some kind of a public forum where they can work with each other or review each other's work and comments and proposals, or learning from each other, all of that. So we're going to enable that on GitHub. That at least GitHub seems to be the natural place at this point in time, rather than do it in some nobody knows where it is kind of a channel where we have to make extra effort to communicate where the channel is and how to get into that channel. So we may open more channels later on as needed, but for now, we'll probably start with GitHub discussions for the researchers. So overall, I think it was a good engagement with these folks, and we'll do more of that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, a very good set of questions. I enjoyed their questions. Any questions from folks here about our engagement with Chennai or our overall strategy with respect to our academic engagement? Okay, then. Daryl, are you ready for the week in review?
I think it may be worth adding just one other comment there. I was pushing them to consider teaching Rolang and concurrent computing issues and concurrent computing. So combination of theory and practice early in the computer science curriculum, and they seem amenable to it because they were saying that, what was holding them back was not having a practical tool like Rolang for kids to engage with it. So that was, at least I found that as a very positive comment. I don't know if Greg, what your impression was from that part of the commentary.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly know that academics have been hampered by not having a mainstream language that offers this paradigm of programming. The more we can offer tools for them to do education, the better off everybody is, right? I mean, there's no question that the industry is forced into this direction, but there haven't been good mainstream programming models to support it. So being able to teach students helps build a programming base that is market ready, which means that they're also ready to work on RChain projects as well. So yeah, it would be a great thing if we did get engagement along those lines. It'd be fantastic.
So I have a question along these lines. There's been an RChain Academy standing meeting, which I think is moving to a different day, but RChain Academy has been focused on putting together tutorials for Rolang, and I know as an ancillary to this, Theo has been working on an RChain cloud development environment. Is there value in grouping these efforts?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely they support each other.
Well, I guess what I'm wondering is there value? So one of the things that we've run into time and again with trying to teach Rolang is we're all practitioners. We're not actually teachers. We're not professors. We're not academics. And I'm wondering if there isn't value in trying to bring a professor of some kind into the RChain Academy space.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly value in it. If you can find someone who wants to work with us, that would be great.
Well, no, I'm wondering whether or not the professors that you're talking to might be candidates.
Yeah, but so we can ask them. Yeah, they might be. We can ask them and see if and how they want to participate. I mean, basically, they have both their research goals as well as their, for example, many of these people are leading PhD candidates, right? They're guiding PhD candidates, 2, 3, whatever, for each person. And then they have their own semester workload and exams and all of that. What we did point out to them today is that the VS Code extension is something that they can use or their students can use to play with Rolang. That's what we're doing. So in general, they would be perhaps willing to do some, I would imagine they would be willing to do, they may not be willing to do a weekly meeting for something like this, but they may be willing to act as some kind of advisory board to say, long-term, this is what we need. And maybe they'll engage with that issue once every couple of months or 3 months or something like that, so that they can move forward with what they're trying to do. So at least that's my view, but we can ask them if they are capable of a stronger engagement or more time-consuming engagement, I should say. But whatever it is, even having them as advisory board for whatever it is that we're doing, where they say, hey, if I'm going to teach 50, 100 students for a semester, this is what I need. I think if we get those requirements and if we satisfy that, I think that would be a win-win.
Yeah, I think the last thing that you said, Rao, is exactly the direction that RChain Academy needs. I mean, we don't have anybody involved that can get to that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Very good. Daryl, are you ready for the weekend review?
Yes, I am. Hey, Greg and everybody. Here's the weekend review for Thursday, February 17th to today, February 23rd. Last Thursday on February 17th in the a work study group, they bootstrapped CLI review and FOSDEM P2P hole punching. On Friday in the Climate Coordination RCast, we were joined by longtime RChain friend, Jim Carrico, and we began by discussing the famous pale blue dot photo, new gas and oil investments in 2021, and regenerative economic models. We also discussed pharmaceutical pollution in rivers and how modern farming threatens human health and further pandemics. On Monday in the Casper stand-up call, they covered the behavioral formulae generated by the OSLF algorithm. And yesterday in the communications working group, we discussed getting print and online materials ready for the Paris Blockchain Week Summit in April. We also discussed plans to get some well-researched unbiased analysis on RChain's energy efficiency to prep for a PR campaign around RChain's superiority in that regard. And also discussed prep for a Hacker News article. And this morning in the active member hangout, we talked about the effectiveness of masks and compared mandates in our areas. And Jim attempted to explain to me Dan's document that is entitled How and Why RChain Should Use Agoric's NFT Design. And that brings us to now.
Excellent. Any questions for Daryl? All right, then. I will mention that we are signing up to participate in Metaweek in Dubai this March. So that will also be happening. Looking forward to a lot of engagement, both from participating on stage and some of the side events. So that should be fun. So that's in addition to the Paris Blockchain Week. So any other questions or comments from the community? Now's your time.
I'm curious as I guess I brought this up last week or maybe the week before. I'm curious as to what we'll be presenting and doing in Paris.
Pretty much the usual. If RPC would like to participate in that, just make sure that we get the materials before we head over. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate your engagement today. We will look forward to seeing many of you on the closed door session on Friday. Please stay safe, stay warm, and see you on the other side.